All right, welcome. Today, we're jumping into something that's absolutely essential for anyone getting into coding, data science, you name it. We're talking Git and GitHub. And by the end of this, you are going to have the power to pull almost any open source project right onto your own computer. Let's do this.
So, have you ever been scrolling through GitHub, right? And you see these incredible, massive projects, and you just feel kind of like you're on the outside looking in. You see all this amazing code, and you're just thinking, man, how do I even begin to play with this, to learn from it, or even make it my own?
Well, guess what? That feeling, it ends today, because we're about to hand you the master key, a single, super simple command that lets you unlock pretty much any public project on GitHub and bring it right home to your computer.
And that master key is a little command called git clone. Now, I know it sounds technical, but I promise you, the idea behind it is incredibly simple. And honestly, it's the first real step to becoming confident with Git and GitHub.
So what is cloning really? The best way I've heard it explained is like this. Imagine you find the perfect book in a library. You can't just start writing in the library's copy, right? But you can take it over to the photocopier. Git clone does exactly that for code. It makes a perfect, identical copy on your local machine so you can experiment all you want. And the really cool part, it doesn't just copy the files, it copies the project's entire history.
And the command itself couldn't be simpler. It's basically two parts: git clone, which is what you want to do, and the URL of the project you want to copy. You can also add an optional folder name if you want to call it something different. That's it.
Okay, theory's great, but let's get our hands dirty. We're going to walk through this together, step by step, and get your very first project cloned and ready to go.
We're going to break this down into three incredibly simple steps. First, we find the project's address on GitHub. Second, we run our new favorite command. And third, we'll just double check that everything worked perfectly. Ready? Let's go.
First things first, we need the address of the repository we want to clone. So let's head over to GitHub and I'll show you exactly where that is.
So find any project on GitHub that looks interesting to you. You're going to look for that big green button that says Code. Go ahead and click it, and a little menu will pop down. Make sure you're on the HTTPS tab, and then just click that little copy icon. Bam! You've got the URL on your clipboard. Now, the URL you copied is always going to look something like this: the GitHub address, the owner's username, and then the project's name. That .git at the end just tells Git, hey, this is a repository you can copy. All right, you've got the URL. Now for the magic. It's time to open up your terminal or your command prompt. This is where we tell your computer, go get that project. Okay, so in your terminal, you're just going to type git clone. Paste in that URL we just copied, and then, this part's optional. You can give the folder a custom name, like my project. If you leave that last part off, no big deal. Git will just use the repository's original name. Then you hit enter and watch it go. After a few moments, the download should be done. But how do we know for sure that it worked? Well, we need to verify that we've got a brand new, fully functional Git repository right here on our machine. So the very first thing you need to do is move inside that new folder that was just created. You'll do that with the cd command, which just means change directory, followed by whatever the folder is called. Now for the moment of truth. Once you're inside that new folder, you're going to type git status. This is a super important command you're going to use all the time. It basically just asks Git, hey, what's going on in here? And if you see a message that looks something like this, congratulations, you did it. This is Git's way of telling you that you're on the main branch, and your new local copy is a perfect, clean replica of the one on GitHub. You have successfully cloned your first repo. Okay, so you've unlocked the door and you're inside the room. But the real power here isn't just having a copy. It's having the freedom to change it, to break it, to make it your own. Let's do something really simple just to prove the point. We're just going to create a brand new, totally empty file inside our project folder. It could be a new Python script, a text file, whatever you want. So, back in your terminal, make sure you're still inside that project folder. Just type the command touch myscript.py. Touch is a really simple command that just, well, it creates a new empty file with that name. Okay, so we've made a change, we added a file. Now for the cool part. Let's ask Git if it noticed what we did. We're going to run git status one more time. And look at that. The output is totally different now. Git is basically talking to you. It's saying, hey, I see this new file here called myscript.py that I'm not keeping track of yet. This right here is the foundation of version control. Git is watching your changes.
You are now officially in control.
See, you haven't just unlocked a single room. You've been given the key to an entire city. Cloning is just the very beginning of your adventure with Git and GitHub. So where do you go from here?
Well, as you start to explore, keep these tips in mind. First, look into something called a .gitignore file. It's a lifesaver. It tells Git to ignore things like huge data files you don't need to track. Second, before you make big changes, learn to create a new branch. Think of it like a safe sandbox to experiment in without messing up the original code. And finally, just do it. The best way to learn is to practice. Keep finding cool projects to clone and poke around in.
So there you have it. The power to pull down basically any open source project from the web and make it your own is now in your hands. You've got the key. The only question left is, what amazing things are you going to build with it?